Hello, and thank you so much for joining us here at Indigo Moon. So, back in the day, I'm going to say this, there used to be movies like Thank God or what is it, God 2. And of course, it was a comedy, but it was also a way in which we would look at the concepts of helping or contributing to our society. It says, what they say, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. A lot of changes are going on right now, meaning the first people who were, let's say, had these jobs, they had these positions, and they got really lax. And they said, you know what, I don't really have to do that. Or maybe they were mistreating the people who were in lower positions. And then, they were, everything wasn't happening at that position or at that job the way that it should have. So that's when God has to step in and say, you know what, maybe we need some changes. And we're seeing some signs of that right now. People are getting fired. People are having to leave these positions so that they could have people who would be more forthright in those positions. People who are going to make better choices, better decisions for not only the company, but for the people who work for the company. You too, thank you. So the problem that we're looking at now is some people are being influenced by the programs that we watch on TV. They'll see a spy show and they say, you know what, I can do that. And they'll do it. Now, perhaps God is allowing these things to happen to both people. The person who's on the receiving end might not be too happy, but those lessons that they're learning will help them to grow, so God allows it. But the person who's giving it out, they might not be able to accept, or they might not be able to handle those very same things when they come back to them. But they're still doing it. They're not thinking about the full picture. It's like when you make certain choices and you don't look at the full picture, what happens to you in the end? We have to look at these things because, again, everything is changing around us. The choices that we make affect us as well as our family members, offspring, dogs, pets, So let us begin to really look at what this means to us, what this means to them. When you look at these different programs, like I said, Oh God was a great program. I remember watching that even recently. And I said, wow, television really has changed. You have to look at like a spiritual channel now in order to get a message, which is great. But it needs to be more so in our other shows as well. There's also Laugh Therapy, where you could watch a show like Modern Family. And you see different people, different parts of society acting in a show. And of course, they find things that are affecting us nowadays to really look at it from different perspectives. And that's a great thing. But even when you move away from a program, you have to also say, what about my life? What am I doing to make the changes? Can I make a difference in someone else's life or even my own life? It usually starts at home. That's why when you teach your children, you want to start at home teaching your children so that when they go out into the regular world or they go out to public school, they still have the basics. The Bible speaks of train up a child, so that he will always come back. So what is he coming back to? Is he coming back to the church or is he coming back to himself? We have to think about that, because even some of the choices that we make throughout the day, like I told you before, when I was teaching, one of the main things I had to do is I had to deal with myself afterwards. And I would go home and I would think about the choices that I made. Was this a great choice, or how can I make changes that would improve my classroom later on? Or how can I make better decisions that will improve this channel later on? Let us begin to really look at how our decisions, how our choices are making things, better, so that we might be able to make those contributions and help our society be uplifted in one way or another. So thank you so much for joining us. This is Indigo Moon, and you have a lovely one.